Welcome back to The Pulse. With us now is State Senator Rochelle Nguyen of Nevada State Senate District 3. Rochelle, thank you for joining us here at The Pulse.
No, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to talk about what's happening in Nevada.
It's our pleasure too. Before we go to the questions, please tell our viewers a bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Rochelle Nguyen. I proudly represent Senate District 3, which is located in central Las Vegas. I always talk about how I live in the central part of my district. My district actually extends all the way from where I live near Rancho and Charleston in the UMC area, but I extend all the way up the 95 to Ann Road. So I proudly represent 150,000 Nevadans that live within Senate District 3.
Rochelle, you are the second incumbent state senator we had here at the Pulse. Pat Spearman was here last year. How close is the state senate from being a Democratic supermajority?
Well, it's hard to follow in the footsteps of Senator Spearman, and so I'm really happy to be here. This is the end of her term.
Yes.
She is term limited out, so we will have to retain her seat, which I am confident that Shelley Cruz Crawford will be able to take on that role, and try to start filling those shoes and building her own reputation. But in order for the state senate to obtain a supermajority, we need to pick up one seat.
More seat.
But we also have to retain all of the seats that we currently have as well.
Yes.
So, Senator Nguyen, does the state senate have the power to override a veto from the governor?
Not the Senate, but the entire legislature has
Okay.
to. So we have to have a supermajority in each house in order to override any governor's veto. So the governor vetoed, I believe, 75 bills during the last legislative session, which I think is more bills than all of the Nevada governors combined have ever vetoed. So it was a pretty significant number of bills that ranged from anything from protection for affordable housing for our veterans and disabled communities to other just a big list of things that will potentially take up if we were to obtain the supermajority. But you do need a supermajority in both the Senate and the Assembly. And the Assembly has it right now, so they would have to maintain that, and we would have to pick up a seat in order to do so as well.
What committees are you chair or co-chair in the state senate in this, and what you hope to be in next year's session?
Well, I previously came from the Assembly, where I was the vice chair and the vice chair of Judiciary, which handles everything from our laws to probate and family law and cannabis. So a wide range of things that are handled in the Judiciary Committee. I'm still on the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. Previously, I served as the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee in the Assembly, and I currently serve as the vice chair. Probably my most significant role that I have to date is I chair the budget subcommittee for Senate Finance for Health and Human Services. So 61% of the state budget goes towards healthcare costs, and that is the budget that I'm responsible for.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Very
Do you
nice.
foresee any increase of federal funding for the Medicaid program in Nevada next year? Or will this be dependent in the outcome of the November election for President and the U.S. Congress? What are your thoughts?
I think protection of safety nets and things and programming that helps our most vulnerable always are on the chopping block when we're talking about congressional races, when we're talking about federal races. They control a vast majority of the money that comes and trickles down to states like us. In particular, Medicaid, over half of all births in the state of Nevada are children born on like that are dependent on Medicaid.
Okay.
So I definitely think this is something that people should be thinking about. And how does that affect people that are not on Medicaid? It affects how crowded your ER is when you go.
Yes.
So you may be someone like myself who has insurance, has good insurance, but you have an emergency where you need to get into an emergency room, and your emergency room is full of people that can't afford health care and are there because they have Medicaid coverage, and that's the only way they can do it. So if we're able to expand Medicaid coverage, it will actually help the entire system as a whole.
I could imagine, This one is like, what's going on in the bigger picture right
Got
now
it.
in this election cycle. It is visible nationwide that the Democratic Party is fired up now that VP Kamala Harris is the presumptive nominee for president. So here's my two-part question. Do you think we will continue to have a Democratic president in the White House? And two, will the Dems regain control of the House of Representatives?
I think we're at an exciting point in history. I'm so grateful, I should say, for all the work that President Biden has done to help bring stability after the COVID pandemic and coming out of the COVID pandemic, as well as coming out of 4 very anxiety-ridden years under the Trump administration, culminating with the January 6th insurrection. So I'm looking forward to Vice President Harris becoming President Harris for so many reasons. One, to have that representation. It's exciting, and I know my daughter is excited. I know my son is excited. I know my family is excited for the idea that there will be our first female president.
Yes.
And the idea, I know for my family, that she represents people that have historically not been able to ascend to those levels of power is really exciting, whether it's in the Asian community or in the Black community, which she both proudly represents.
Yes.
And so I'm excited. I think we will have that. I think there's momentum. I think you see the excitement and the hope that she is bringing back to our community. So we have that stability that I think we so desperately needed with President Biden, and I think she is going to be able to take us to that next level.
I bump into a lot of even the guys. Like there's this is exciting. We might this country might finally have like a female president. And it's so it's like
It's going to be more hyped up than the previous elections.
yeah, it's like they said they've never seen this kind of excitement since 2008 when Obama was running.
I think you need sometimes that influx
Yeah.
of energy and empowerment, excitement. She's fantastic. She's a powerful like
Yes.
woman who, she's been a prosecutor. She has
State Attorney
a
General.
state attorney general. She just has that breadth of experience that I think will be great for our country.
Yeah, and then a lot of people that I talked with, said that they see the humanity in Kamala than the other guy. It's like
She's fun. She
Yeah.
can dance. She
Yeah.
can.
her laugh is contagious.
She runs. She does. I think she brings some joy that
Yeah.
Politics has gotten so, I guess, negative and like
Toxic.
Toxic. That is the best word for it as well. And so, to see that we have hope and we have excitement and we have some joy that is being pumped back into politics, I think will drive voters out because they want to see that.
Who's running against you in the other side?
I have 2 opponents. I haven't heard much from them. I have a nonpartisan opponent and I have a Republican opponent. I just had a primary opponent that was pretty contentious
Okay.
too. So, I have run, and this is my first Senate race.
Okay.
But I have run multiple races as an assemblywoman representing half of the district.
I
So
see.
when I was in Assembly District 10, so I'm confident that I will be able to expand that. And I think coming out of this primary, very victorious, like will give me some momentum going into the general.
I can imagine.
Last words from you, Senator, and talk to your voters.
When you look at me, I'm just a regular person. I didn't get into politics when I was like in infancy. In fact, I was in my 40s before I did it. First and foremost, I'm a mom. I've got 2 kids that are in our public schools, one going into high school, which makes me as a mom very nervous. And I have another daughter who is in middle school. So I also have my husband who, works a lot. I have my dad who is Vietnamese who also lives with us. So I see kind of multiple generations, going through everything that affects us in our state. And so being able to be a part of solving problems that represent not only my family, but everyone, I think is what will make me the best candidate to retain my seat and come back into the state Senate and make sure that we are able to move forward as a state in Nevada and make it a better place for our families.
Well, good luck on your race, Rochelle. Candidate for State Senate District 3, Rochelle Nguyen. Thank you for joining us, and we are out of time for this edition. Please join us again next time. I'm Sam Buban. Thank you for watching.
And I'm Joe Boban. God bless your week.